The cargo ship Frontier Spirit moved slowly through space. To anyone watching, it looked like an easy target. The ship was big and slow, carrying valuable minerals from the mining stations near Titan. Captain Zarketh of the pirate ship Bloodclaw watched his screens and felt happy. No military escort, weak shields, just a regular cargo ship, said his officer. The humans are making this too simple. Zarketh had heard stories about human ships. Other pirates talked about strange traps and unexpected fights. But he had been a pirate for 20 years. He knew what easy prey looked like. The Frontier Spirit was alone, had a small crew, and carried expensive cargo. It was perfect. On the Frontier Spirit, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge. He drank coffee from a mug while watching the pirate ship get closer. His face showed no worry at all. "They are taking the bait," said Amy Chen, his first officer. She worked at the sensor station. "Their ship is the Bloodclaw. They have attacked 4 cargo ships in the past 2 months." "Good," Jake said quietly. "Let them come closer." "Is everyone ready?" Ben Rodriguez, the security chief, smiled. He was a big man with scars on his hands. "Everyone is in position. Engineering says all systems are working. Well, as good as they can on this old ship." Nicole Davis, the communications officer, looked nervous. This was only her second trip on a human ship. "Captain, should we call for help? Patrol ships are only 3 hours away. By the time they arrive, the pirates will be gone," Jake said kindly. "They will just attack another ship next week. Besides, Nicole, you wanted to see what makes human ships different. You are about to learn." The Bloodclaw launched 6 boarding pods. Each pod held 12 Vrakon warriors with heavy weapons. They flew toward the Frontier Spirit like missiles. The Vrakon were ready for quick, brutal work. They would take over the crew and steal the cargo. "Boarding pods coming," Amy announced. "They will hit us in 30 seconds. Jake put down his coffee and straightened his uniform. "Okay, everyone. Remember, we need some of them alive for questions. Try not to damage the ship too much. But if you must choose between the ship and your life, you know what to pick." "The ship, right?" Ben asked, keeping his face serious. "Ben," Jake said with a warning tone. "Just joking, Captain." Mostly. The boarding pods crashed into the hull, with loud bangs that echoed through the hallways. Magnetic clamps locked on, and cutting torches started burning through the outer hull. The Vrakon pirates worked fast. They had done this hundreds of times before. But the pirates did not know something important. The Frontier Spirit was not really a cargo ship. It used to be a military vessel. Humans had removed the obvious weapons but added many hidden systems. The ship was a carefully built trap, and the crew was about to teach the pirates why people in the galaxy had started avoiding human ships. The first Vrakon warrior stepped through the hole in the hull and into the dark hallway. Motion sensors turned on. Red emergency lights came on, making the hallway glow red. The warrior raised his plasma rifle. He expected to see scared human crew members. Instead, he heard a voice from speakers in the walls. The voice spoke perfect Vrakon. The translation was simple, but scary. "Welcome aboard. Please watch your step." Then the floor opened up under him. The first boarding team fell just like the humans had planned. The fake floor panels broke under the weight of the Vrakon warriors. They dropped 3 meters into what used to be a cargo hold. Now, it was a containment room. Foam dispensers turned on right away. They covered the confused pirates in quick hardening foam. This was the same foam used to seal holes in ship hulls during emergencies. In seconds, the entire team could not move. Their weapons were stuck to their bodies. Team 1 captured. Ben reported from the security center. He watched cameras all over the ship. The foam traps worked perfectly. They look like angry statues down there. "Team 2 is breaking through on deck 3, Amy said. "Right where we thought they would." The second boarding team entered more carefully. Their leader had heard confused shouts from Team 1 before the radio went dead. These Vrakon moved slowly, looking for traps. With weapons ready, they walked 5 meters into the hallway. Then, the walls exploded with sound. Not weapons, but noise. Sonic emitters, made for crowd control, released a special sound frequency. It targeted Vrakon hearing organs specifically. The warriors had sensitive hearing organs in their neck ridges. The sound overloaded them instantly. They dropped their weapons and grabbed at their necks. They could not move properly. Engineer Kyle Patterson watched from a maintenance tunnel above them. His finger was on the manual control. "Give it 3 more seconds," he said to himself, counting down. 2, 1, and lights out. He switched to the electromagnetic pulse system. A focused burst fried the electronics in their combat suits. It did not damage the ship's protected systems. The Vrakon collapsed. They were conscious but could not see or hear. Ben's security team, wearing protective gear, came in with restraints. Team 2 secured. Ben announced. "No injuries on either side." "I am almost disappointed." "Do not worry," Jake said with dry humor. "We still have 4 more teams to go. I am sure at least one will give you some excitement." On the Bloodclaw, Captain Zarketh stared at his radio in disbelief. 2 teams had gone silent in just minutes. This was wrong. Everything was wrong. Team 3, report your status. He spoke into the radio. "What is happening on that ship?" The leader of Team 3, a scarred veteran named Korval, responded right away. "We are facing resistance, Captain. Team 1 and 2 are not responding. We are moving very carefully. We found the crew section. We are getting ready to break into the bridge now." "Good. Take the bridge and capture the humans. We will figure this out once we have hostages." Team 3 positioned themselves outside the bridge blast door. They placed breaching charges on it. This was what they trained for. This was the moment when pirates took control, and the prey realized they had lost. Korval counted down with his claws, then set off the charges. The door exploded inward. Team 3 rushed in with weapons raised, ready for anything. What they found was a supply closet. A very small supply closet, filled with cleaning equipment. It was barely big enough for 3 Vrakon, not 12. "This is not the bridge," one warrior said, stating the obvious. "The layout showed it should be here," another began to say. In the engineering section, Chief Engineer Carlos Martinez smiled at his 2 assistants, Ryan Cooper and Megan Walsh. "We have company coming. Time to show these pirates why you do not mess with a human engineer's workspace." "Did you finish installing the gravity plates?" Ryan asked, checking his tablet. "Oh, I finished those 3 weeks ago. I have been adding improvements." Carlos pulled up a diagram on his workstation. "We have variable gravity in sections 7 through 11. We have magnetic field disruptors in the access tunnels. And my personal favorite, the floor of Section 9 is now made of graphene sheets over a superconducting magnetic array." "What does that do?" Megan asked. "You will see, and it is going to be funny." The Vrakon warriors of Teams 4, 5, and 6 had joined together. They moved through the cargo sections systematically. They were frustrated by the confusing layout of the ship and could not find any crew members. Their armor scanners showed life signs deeper in the ship, in what looked like the engineering decks. Finally, the team leader growled. "We found them. All teams, move to engineering. We will drag these humans out and find out what kind of tricks they have been playing." They entered Section 9, a large open area that looked like a storage space. Empty containers lined the walls. The floor was smooth and slightly shiny. The Vrakon spread out with weapons ready. They moved toward the far door where the scanners showed the strongest life signs. Carlos watched them on the monitors. His hand was over a large red button that he had installed himself. He had even put a label on it that said, "Do not press unless pirates." "Is everyone in position?" he asked, over the internal radio. All our people are in the protected sections, Ben confirmed. The pirates are all yours, Chief. Best day ever, Carlos whispered, and pressed the button. The magnetic array under Section 9 turned on with a hum that the Vracon could feel in their bones. Their armor, weapons, and equipment were all made from magnetic metal. This was standard for most species in the galaxy. In less than a second, every piece of metal they carried was stuck to the floor like it was welded there. The warriors found themselves pinned down. They could not lift their feet. Their weapons were torn from their hands and slapped to the floor. They struggled and pulled. They tried to release their armor clasps. But the magnetic field was so strong that even the fasteners would not move. Then Carlos turned on the gravity plates. He increased the gravity in Section 9 to 3 times normal. The Vracon, already struggling with the magnetic field, collapsed under the extra weight. They were not hurt, just completely and embarrassingly trapped. And that, Carlos announced over the speakers, is why you do not bring magnetic materials onto a ship designed by someone who studied physics instead of just pointing weapons at people. Security, they are all yours. Oh, and be careful. The gravity is a bit heavy in there. Ben and his team, wearing non-magnetic gear and equipped with gravity compensators, moved in to secure the last of the boarding parties. On the Bloodclaw, Captain Zarketh watched in horror as every single one of his boarding teams went silent, one after another. His crew looked at him, waiting for orders. Zarketh did not know that the worst was yet to come. Captain Jake Morrison had decided it was time to show these pirates what happened when you attacked a human ship. It was time for the prey to become the predator. All boarding teams secured, Captain, Ben reported. He could not hide the satisfaction in his voice. 39 pirates captured. 0 casualties on either side. The foam on Team 1 is starting to break down. We should move them to the prison cells within the hour. Jake nodded, but his attention was on the main display. The Bloodclaw still hung in space, probably trying to figure out why all its boarding parties had disappeared. Amy, what is the pirate ship doing? They are holding position about 2 kilometers away from us. Energy readings are going up. I think they are charging weapons. They are done playing nice. Good. So are we. Nicole, open a communication channel to the Bloodclaw. The young communications officer's fingers shook slightly as she worked her console. Channel open, Captain. Jake's voice filled the bridge of the pirate vessel. He sounded calm and almost casual. Bloodclaw, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Frontier Spirit. I am going to make this simple. You have 60 seconds to surrender your ship and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply, I will disable your ship and take you by force. Your choice. On the Bloodclaw bridge, Zarketh's mandibles clicked in what was laughter for Vracon. The prey threatens the hunter. This human is crazy. He turned to his weapons officer. Target their engines and their bridge. Full power. We will blast them into pieces and take what we can from the wreckage. Captain, his tactical officer hesitated. Sir, they captured all our boarding teams. Maybe we should consider... Be quiet. Fire all weapons. Plasma cannons and missile batteries opened fire on the Frontier Spirit at close range. The attack would have destroyed any normal cargo ship. It would have ripped through its shields and torn open its hull. Instead, the weapons splashed harmlessly against the Frontier Spirit's shields. The shields flared bright blue, but held firm. Well, that is unfortunate, Jake said, watching the display. I was hoping they would choose surrender. Amy, drop the civilian transponder. Let them see what they are really dealing with. Amy's fingers flew across her console. Transponder changed. Shields reconfigured. To military standard. Weapons coming online. On the Bloodclaw, alarms began screaming. The sensors suddenly read the Frontier Spirit's true configuration. The cargo ship was putting out enough power to supply a small city. Weapon ports were opening along its hull. They revealed military-grade plasma cannons, railguns, and missile tubes. Impossible, Zarketh whispered. It is a converted military frigate, his tactical officer stammered, reading the data. Heavy cruiser class. Based on the power readings. Sir, their weapons are locked onto us. We need to run. We need to run, right now. Weapons, officer, Jake said calmly. Disable their engines. Precision shots only. I want them alive. To answer questions. Lieutenant Kate Stevens, a former military gunner with 12 years of combat experience, smiled as her fingers moved across the weapons console. With pleasure. Captain. Firing. Solution locked. Starting railgun sequence. 3 shots fired in quick succession. They crossed the distance between the ships in a fraction of a second. Solid tungsten penetrators, accelerated to incredible speed, punched through the Bloodclaw's engine section with surgical precision. The pirate ship's main drives exploded in sparks and venting plasma. The vessel was dead in space but still intact. Engines disabled, Kate reported. Their weapons are still online, but they are not going anywhere. The Bloodclaw's bridge fell into chaos. Damage reports flooded in. The crew shouted over one another. Zarketh stared at the display in disbelief, watching his ship die around him. All weapons, return fire, he screamed. Destroy them. The Bloodclaw's cannons fired again, pouring everything they had into the human ship. It made no difference. The Frontier Spirit's shields, designed to withstand military-grade weapons, barely noticed the civilian-grade pirate weapons. Captain Morrison, Amy said, checking her sensors. They are trying to charge their faster-than-light drive. I think they are going to try to jump away. Can they make it with their engines damaged? Ben Rodriguez led his security team into the airlock. He checked his weapon one last time. Unlike the pirates who had boarded earlier, the humans came prepared with real military gear. They had full armor and weapons designed for ship-to-ship combat. Remember the rules, Ben told his team, as they crossed to the Bloodclaw, in a heavily armored boarding shuttle. Secure the bridge first, engineering second, then search for survivors. Treat wounded if you find them. We are professionals, not pirates. What if they shoot at us? Asked Linda Hayes, one of the newer security officers. Then we shoot back. But let us try to avoid that if we can. These people are defeated, not evil. They are just going to prison instead of a grave if they are smart. The boarding shuttle locked onto the Bloodclaw's main airlock. The human team broke through the door with efficient, practiced movements. They cleared each hallway with military precision. They found a few Vrakon warriors trying to mount a defense. But without power armor and facing humans in full combat gear, the pirates quickly surrendered. Within 20 minutes, Ben's team had secured the entire ship. The surviving Vrakon, including Captain Zarketh, were put in their own prison cells, disarmed and defeated. Ben stood on the Bloodclaw's dark bridge. He looked at the captain through the force field of the prison cell. Your ship is now property of the Terran Federation. It will be held as evidence. Anywell, Andar, Litters and Fiver, minus Descenes, Anywell. Your crew will be transported to the nearest judicial station to face charges of piracy. If you cooperate, the judge might be lenient. If you do not, well, humans tend to take a dim view of pirates. Zarketh stared at the human. His earlier confidence was completely gone. How? He asked simply. How did you do this? Why would a cargo ship have all this? This is space, Ben said, his voice hard. It is dangerous out here. We learned a long time ago that the best way to deal with predators is to make sure they know we are not prey. Every human ship out here, civilian or military, is designed to defend itself. Some of us just hide it better than others. Back on the Frontier Spirit, Jake was filing reports and coordinating with the Federation patrol ships that were finally arriving. Nicole approached his chair hesitantly. Captain, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did we not just blow them up? Once they attacked us, we had every right to defend ourselves. It would have been easier. Jake set down his tablet and looked at her. Because we are not killers, Nicole. Yes, we could have destroyed them. But those pirates are people too. Criminals, yes. But people with families, with lives. They made bad choices. But that does not mean they deserve death. We captured them. We will turn them over to the authorities. Justice will take its course. That is how civilization works. But all those traps, the weapons, the military systems, you were ready to fight. We are always ready to fight, Jake agreed. But that does not mean we want to. Being prepared for violence and being eager for it are two very different things. We hope for peace, but prepare for war. That is the human way. Or at least, it should be. Nicole thought about that for a moment, then smiled. I think I am starting to understand why people tell stories about human ships, Captain. Oh? Jake raised an eyebrow. What kind of stories? The kind that make pirates think twice before attacking. The kind that say humans are crazy enough to turn cargo ships into warships, but still civilized enough to take prisoners instead of corpses. Jake chuckled. Yeah, I suppose that is us. Now, let us get these prisoners transferred and get back to our delivery schedule. Those mining companies are expecting their equipment, and I hate being late. 3 weeks later, at a pirate haven on the edges of the Seraph Nebula, Captain Jake Morrison's name was becoming infamous. The dive bar was called the Rusty Reactor. It catered to people who did not ask questions about cargo or ship registrations. Today, it was packed with pirates, smugglers, and various other criminals. Everyone was discussing the same topic: human ships. A 4-armed Deltrex pirate named Krax slammed his mug on the counter. I am telling you, it is not just the Blood Claw. 3 more ships have hit human vessels in the last month. The Void Razor tried to board a human colony transport. You know what happened? Then, what? Asked a Korathi smuggler, leaning forward. The transport had internal security drones, military-grade combat models, in a civilian transport. The entire boarding party was stunned and captured in under 5 minutes. Then the humans flew the Void Razor back here and sold it to a scrap dealer. They made a profit off being attacked. Nervous laughter rippled through the bar. Everyone had heard similar stories. The Crimson Talon, a notorious raider crew, had boarded a human research vessel. They discovered the scientists were actually military intelligence officers. The entire ship was a training exercise for anti-piracy tactics. The Dark Comet tried to ambush a human medical ship. They ended up captured when the ship's medical supplies included enough sedatives to knock out their entire crew. The drugs were delivered through the air system. An old Vrakon pirate stood up on a table. He was missing one arm and covered in scars. Listen to me, all of you. I flew with the Blood Claw. I was on that ship when we tried to take the Frontier Spirit. The bar went quiet. That human captain, Morrison? He did not kill anyone. He could have. That ship had enough firepower to vaporize us. But he took prisoners. He turned us over to the authorities. You know what the judge did? What? Someone called out. 5 years in a rehabilitation facility instead of execution. Because Morrison testified that we surrendered eventually. That we did not kill anyone. The human showed mercy. The old Vrakon's voice was quiet now. I am telling you all. Humans are different. They prepare for war like nobody I have ever seen. But they fight like they are trying to teach you a lesson, not kill you. That makes them more dangerous. Not less. Dangerous how? Krax challenged. If they are not going to kill us, because you cannot predict them, the old Vrakon shouted. One moment they are running away, the next they are hunting you. One moment they seem weak, the next they are unstoppable, and they are everywhere now. Human ships are spreading through every trade route, every sector. They all have this same philosophy. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and make anyone who attacks them regret it, without necessarily killing them. On Earth, in the Terran Federation Navy headquarters, Admiral Chris Wright sat in a meeting. The meeting had been called specifically to discuss the Civilian Vessel Defense Initiative. "Admiral, we are getting reports from across Federation space," said Commander Laura Bennett. She pulled up statistics on the main display. "Piracy attacks on human vessels are down 47% in the last 6 months. But there is something interesting." "One." "What?" Admiral Wright asked. "But the result is concerning," the congressman continued. "The result," the admiral interrupted, "is that our people are safer. Piracy is down because pirates know that attacking a human ship means they are more likely to end up in custody than with loot. And here is the key point. We are not killing them. We are capturing them, prosecuting them, and in many cases, rehabilitating them. The old Vrakon from the Bloodclaw, he is now working as a safety consultant. He teaches other species about ship security. We turned an enemy into an ally, without firing a shot in anger." The congressman sat back, thinking. "So, you are saying this is all according to plan?" "I am saying this is the human way," Admiral Wright replied. "We do not seek war, but we refuse to be victims. Every human who goes into space knows the risks. They prepare accordingly. Yes, sometimes that preparation looks like too much to other species, but it keeps our people alive. It is changing the entire dynamic of space piracy." Back on the Frontier Spirit, now 3 months after the Bloodclaw incident, Jake was training Nicole on advanced ship systems. Amy called from the bridge. "Captain, we have a situation. Long-range sensors are picking up a distress call. It looks like a Karathi merchant ship under attack by raiders." Jake and Nicole rushed to the bridge. The tactical display showed a small merchant vessel being circled by 2 pirate ships. Both were firing weapons. "How far?" "Well, 30 minutes at maximum speed." "Sir, should we call for backup? The patrol ship is 2 hours away." "Don't. Thanks for watching." Jake looked at his crew. Ben was already standing by, ready for action. Kate was at weapons. Carlos and his engineering team were monitoring systems. Even young Nicole, despite her nervousness 3 months ago, looked determined. "What do you think, people? Do we intervene?" "Those pirates are killing that crew," Kate said quietly. "We have the capability to stop it." "We are a cargo ship," Ben said. But his tone suggested he did not really believe the objection. "This is not our job." "Actually," Jake said, pulling up the Federation charter on his screen. "As of 2 months ago, any human vessel with defensive capabilities is authorized to respond to distress calls as auxiliary law enforcement. The Federation approved it quickly after the Bloodclaw incident. So, technically, it is our job now." Carlos grinned from the engineering station. "Did I mention I installed 2 more surprises in the cargo bay? You know, just in case?" "You installed more surprises without telling me?" Jake asked. "Captain, if I told you every modification I made, you would have paperwork for months. Trust me. They are good." Jake shook his head but smiled. "All right, people. Let us go save some Karathi merchants and teach these pirates the same lesson we taught the last ones. Amy, plot intercept course. Kate, charge weapons but keep them hidden until we are committed. Ben, prepare the security team. And someone please make sure Carlos's surprises are not going to blow us up." "Hey," Carlos protested. "That was one time. And the fire was really small." The Frontier Spirit changed course. Its engines pushed toward maximum speed. On the bridge, Jake watched the display. He thought about the old Vrakon's words, which had been passed along through intelligence channels. The galaxy was learning that humans were different. They prepared for war, but sought peace. They would defend themselves and others with overwhelming force but preferred to capture rather than kill. It was a reputation Jake was proud of. As they closed on the pirate vessels attacking the helpless merchant, he knew they were about to reinforce that reputation once again. "Nicole," he said to the young communications officer, Prepare a message to broadcast to those pirate ships. Tell them they have one chance to break off their attack and surrender. If they do not, Nicole asked. Jake's expression hardened. Then they are about to discover why the galaxy is telling stories about human ships, and why those stories always end the same way. Do not attack the humans. The frontier spirit dropped out of faster-than-light travel right in the middle of the battle. Shields were blazing. Weapons were ready. Every trap and trick its paranoid, brilliant, creative, human crew could devise was primed and ready for use. The pirates saw the human ship arrive. They made the worst decision of their lives. They decided to fight. The first pirate ship, a Korathi raider called the Shadowfang, turned its weapons on the frontier spirit. Plasma bolts streaked through space toward the human vessel. Shields holding at 98%, Amy reported calmly. Their weapons are barely scratching our paint. Return fire, Jake ordered. Disable their weapons only. I want them functional enough to fly home and tell everyone what happened here. Kate's fingers danced across her console, targeting their weapon arrays. Firing. Precise railgun shots tore through the Shadowfang's weapon emplacements. Within seconds, the pirate ship was defenseless, but otherwise intact. The second pirate ship, seeing what happened to its companion, tried to run. Its engines flared as it attempted to build speed for a faster-than-light jump. They are trying to escape, Amy said. Should we let them go? No, Jake said firmly. If we let them go, they will just attack someone else tomorrow. Kate, disable their engines. Make it clean. Another railgun shot crossed the void. The fleeing pirate ship's engines exploded in a controlled burst. The vessel went dark, drifting in space. Both pirate ships disabled, Kate reported. The Korathi merchant is badly damaged, but intact. They are hailing us. Put them through, Jake said. A Korathi captain appeared on screen. His face showed relief and gratitude. Human vessel. This is Captain Velthar of the merchant ship Golden Wind. You saved our lives. We are in your debt. Just doing our job, Captain, Jake replied. Do you need assistance with repairs? Our engines are damaged, but life support is stable. If you could stay with us until help arrives, we would be grateful. We will stay as long as you need, and we will make sure these pirates do not cause any more trouble. Ben and his team boarded both pirate vessels. They found the crews shocked and defeated. Unlike the Vrakon of the Bloodclaw, these pirates had heard the stories. They knew what happened to those who fought humans. They surrendered without resistance. 32 more prisoners for processing, Ben reported. These ones were smart. They gave up as soon as we came aboard. They keep asking if we are going to kill them. Tell them the same thing we told the Bloodclaw crew, Jake said. They will face justice, not execution. If they cooperate, they might get a second chance. As Federation patrol ships arrived to take custody of the prisoners and assist the Korathi merchant, Captain Velthar hailed the frontier spirit one more time. Captain Morrison, he said formally. I have heard stories about human ships. I thought they were exaggerated. I was wrong. You have shown incredible skill and mercy today. The Korathi Trade Guild will hear of this. We appreciate that, Captain, Jake said. Stay safe out there. And if you need help again, any human ship will respond. That is a promise. After the patrol ships left with the prisoners, the frontier spirit resumed its journey. Nicole approached Jake on the bridge. Captain, those pirates surrendered as soon as they saw us. They were terrified. Yes, Jake agreed. The word has spread faster than I expected. Is that good or bad? 6 months after the Bloodclaw incident, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. The topic was the human problem. Representatives from dozens of species filled the massive chamber. The mood was tense. Ambassador Tavor of the Xelon Trade Consortium stood at the speaker's platform. His translucent skin shimmered with agitation. The human vessels are disrupting the established order of space commerce. Their aggressive defensive measures have resulted in a dramatic decrease in piracy, yes. But at what cost? They capture pirates, rehabilitate them, and then release them back into society. This is naive and dangerous. A murmur of agreement ran through some sections of the chamber. But not all sections agreed. Ambassador Kyra Sullivan, the human representative, stood calmly. She waited for silence. She was a veteran diplomat, with silver hair and sharp eyes. She had been expecting this confrontation for months. With respect, Ambassador Tavor, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. I would like to present some facts. Since human civilian vessels began implementing enhanced defensive measures, piracy attacks across all species have decreased by 63%. Not just attacks on human ships, but all ships. Criminal organizations are collapsing because they cannot sustain the losses from failed raids. And the pirates we capture? The repeat offense rate is only 11%. That means 89% of them never commit another crime. But your ships are essentially warships, protested a Korathi delegate. You convert military vessels and arm civilian captains. This violates the spirit of the Civilian Vessel Accords. Kira smiled slightly. Every modification on human civilian ships is legal and documented. We do not have weapons that exceed civilian-grade specifications. What we have is creativity, redundancy, and a cultural emphasis on self-reliance. Other species are free to adopt similar measures. But humans are unique in this approach, Tavor continued. Your species seems to believe every civilian needs military training. You think every ship should be a fortress. This level of paranoia is unprecedented. You call it paranoia, Kyra replied. We call it preparation. Let me tell you a story. Ambassadors. 1 month ago, the cruise ship Pacific Star was traveling through the Tertian sector with 1,200 passengers. Mostly families on vacation. They were attacked by a desperate gang, trying to take hostages. Do you know what happened? The chamber was silent. The Pacific Star's crew, using non-lethal defenses and clever tactics, captured the entire gang within 8 minutes. Not a single passenger was injured. Not a single attacker was killed. The gang members are now in custody, facing rehabilitation rather than execution. This is what human preparation looks like. This is why we do what we do. The second 4,000 time, Ambassador Tavor started to respond. But another delegate stood up. It was the old Vrakon from the Rusty Reactor, now serving as a representative for a reformed pirate advocacy group. Honored ambassadors, my name is Corveth. I was a pirate for 30 years. I attacked the human ship Frontier Spirit, expecting easy prey. Instead, I was captured, treated fairly, and given a chance to rebuild my life. The humans could have killed me and my crew. They had every right, but they did not. They showed us that there was another way. He paused, looking around the chamber. I have spent the last 6 months working with the Terran Federation's rehabilitation program. I teach other former pirates how to make honest livings. Do you know what I have learned? Humans prepare for violence, yes, but they hope for peace. They build weapons, but they prefer negotiations. They are capable of terrible destruction, but they choose mercy when possible. That makes them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because of what they can do, but because you never know if they will destroy you or save you until the moment comes. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some delegates were nodding thoughtfully. Others looked skeptical. Kira waited for order to be restored. The truth is, she continued, humans learned something important in our own history. Violence creates more violence. If we had turned space into a shooting gallery, killing every pirate we encountered, we would have created more enemies, more violence, more death. Instead, we chose to be strong enough that people do not attack us, but merciful enough that when they do, we give them a chance to change. Pretty words, Tavor said coldly. But actions speak louder. You say you hope for peace, but you prepare for war. Yes, Kyra agreed simply. We do. Because hoping for peace does not mean being naive about danger. Ambassador Tavor, your own species has suffered 38 piracy attacks in the last 6 months. 27 of those vessels were captured or destroyed because they could not defend themselves. Human vessels in the same period? 82 attempted attacks. 0 successful boardings. 79 captured pirate crews who are now in rehabilitation programs rather than recruiting for their next raid. She pulled up statistics on the main display. Here are the facts. Piracy is down across all sectors with significant human traffic. Trade routes are safer. Insurance rates are dropping. Criminal organizations are disbanding. We are achieving this not through military conquest or aggressive expansion. We are doing it simply by refusing to be victims and showing mercy to those who attack us. A young Deltrex delegate raised a manipulator. Ambassador Sullivan, what happens when a species decides to use your tactics? To prepare ships, like humans do? We will help them, Kyra said immediately. We have already established the civilian vessel defense initiative. We offer training, equipment packages, and consultation to any species that wants to protect their ships. It is not a secret. We want everyone to be safer. Tavor's skin darkened with frustration. You are changing the entire structure of space, commerce, and security. You are forcing everyone to adapt to your paranoid standards. No, Kyra corrected gently. We are raising the standards for everyone. Pirates used to be a fact of life in space, an accepted risk. Human ships proved it does not have to be that way. Now other species are realizing they do not have to be victims either. That is not forcing change. That is inspiring it. Another delegate, a Vrakon military commander, stood. Ambassador Sullivan, I have reviewed the tactical data from several incidents involving human civilian vessels. Your defenses are impressive, but they rely heavily on deception and psychological warfare. You make your ships look weak when they are strong. You use traps and tricks rather than direct confrontation. Some might call this dishonorable. Kyra nodded. Some might. Others would call it smart. Commander, humans have a saying. The best victory is the one where nobody dies. Our ships are designed to end conflicts quickly, with minimal casualties on both sides. Yes, we use deception. Yes, we use psychology. But we use these tools to save lives, not take them. Is there honor in needless death when a clever solution exists? The Vrakon commander considered this, then slowly sat down. He seemed satisfied with the answer. This council recognizes the validity of Ambassador Sullivan's points. The human approach, while unconventional, has produced measurable positive results. We will not mandate disarmament of human civilian vessels. Furthermore, we will establish the Sullivan Doctrine, allowing all species to implement similar defensive measures on their civilian ships, provided they follow human guidelines of proportional response and preference for non-lethal capture. The chamber erupted in discussion again, but this time, the tone was different. There was acceptance, even excitement, from some delegates. Tavor looked frustrated but said nothing more. After the session ended, Korveth approached Kyra in the hallway. Ambassador, thank you for allowing me to speak. I know my past makes me an unusual ally. Your past makes you the perfect ally, Kyra said warmly. You have lived both sides of this story. Your testimony was more powerful than anything I could have said. The humans gave me a second chance, Korveth said quietly. I will spend the rest of my life making sure others understand what that means. Back on the Frontier Spirit, Captain Jake Morrison was reading the report on the council session when his communications console chimed. Nicole patched through a priority message from Federation Command. Captain Morrison, said Admiral Wright, appearing on screen. I wanted to personally inform you that the Galactic Council has voted to adopt what they are calling the Sullivan Doctrine. Civilian vessels of all species will be allowed to implement enhanced defensive measures, based largely on the specifications and tactics you and other human captains have pioneered. You are being credited with helping to reshape galactic security policy. Jake blinked. Sir, I was just trying to keep my crew and cargo safe. I know, Captain. But in doing so, you showed the galaxy a different way of thinking about security. You proved that being prepared does not mean being aggressive. That strength can be used for protection rather than domination. The Sullivan Doctrine is going to save lives across dozens of species. After the Admiral signed off, Jake sat in his captain's chair, thinking about how a simple converted freighter had somehow become a symbol of human philosophy. His crew gathered around, having heard the news. So, we are famous now? Ben asked with a grin. Infamous, more like, Jake replied. Every pirate in the galaxy knows our name. Good, Carlos said. Maybe they will finally stop trying to board us. I was running out of creative trap ideas. You were not, Amy said flatly. Okay, fine. But some of them are really complicated to build, Nicole spoke up quietly. Captain, when we captured the Bloodclaw, you said we are not killers. That we capture rather than kill, because that is how civilization works. Do you really believe that? Jake looked at his young communications officer thoughtfully. Nicole, I have been in space for 23 years. I have seen things go wrong in ways you cannot imagine. I have watched good people die because they were not prepared. But I have also seen what happens when people decide that killing is the first solution to every problem. It creates cycles of violence that never end. He stood and walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars. Every ship we capture, instead of destroy. Every pirate we rehabilitate, instead of execute. That is us choosing to break the cycle. That is us saying we are strong enough to be merciful. Even when they attack us first? Nicole asked. Especially then. Anyone can kill when they are scared or angry. It takes real strength to show restraint, to capture instead of kill, to rehabilitate instead of punish. That is what makes humans different, Nicole. Not our weapons or our tactics, but our choice to use them only as much as necessary. And no more. Ben nodded slowly. It is also practical. Dead pirates cannot tell their friends to leave human ships alone. Captured pirates who get treated fairly and given a second chance, they spread the word. They tell everyone that humans are tough but fair. That is worth more than any weapon. Exactly, Jake agreed. We are not saints, and we are not naive. We hit back when attacked. We defend ourselves with everything we have, but we do it in a way that makes the galaxy safer for everyone, not just humans. That is something worth being famous for. Amy checked her console. Captain, we are approaching the next waypoint. Looks like a quiet sector. No distress calls. No pirate activity reported. Good, Jake said, settling back into his chair. A nice, boring cargo run sounds perfect. Do not say that, Carlos warned. You will jinx us. Right on cue, the sensors chimed. Nicole checked the reading and laughed. Captain, we are being hailed by a Korathi merchant vessel. They are asking if we are the Frontier Spirit, the ship that has been protecting civilian vessels. They want to know if they can travel with us through the next sector. For protection. The bridge crew shared knowing looks. Ben chuckled. From death trap to guardian angel. That is quite a reputation shift. Tell them yes, Jake decided. We will escort them through. No charge. Just doing our job. As the Frontier Spirit and its new companion resumed their journey, Jake reflected on how much had changed in just 6 months. They had gone from being just another cargo ship to being a symbol of human philosophy in action. They had shown the galaxy that being prepared for violence and choosing peace were not opposite ideas, but worked together. Another ship appeared on sensors. Then another. Soon, A small convoy of civilian vessels from different species was following the frontier spirit, all seeking the protection that human ships had become known for. "Captain, we have 7 ships now asking to travel with us," Nicole reported, sounding amazed. "They are from 5 different species. The more the merrier," Jake said. "Let them know they are welcome. We will make sure everyone gets through safely." Ben looked at the growing convoy on his tactical display. "Boss, I think we just became a mobile safe zone. Every civilian ship in the sector is going to want to travel with us. Then we better make sure we live up to the reputation," Jake replied. "Amy, keep sensors on maximum range. Kate, keep weapons ready, but hidden. Carlos, make sure all your systems are functioning. If pirates show up, I want them to get the full frontier spirit experience." "Oh, they will," Carlos said with a grin. "I just finished installing surprise number 47. It is a good one. I am afraid to ask," Jake muttered. The convoy moved through space, a collection of civilian ships from across the galaxy, all protected by one converted human freighter. Word continued to spread through the pirate networks. The frontier spirit was traveling through the sector. Any pirate with sense knew to avoid it. A few did not have sense. A small pirate ship, new to the area and unfamiliar with human reputation, spotted the convoy and decided it was too good an opportunity to pass up. They approached with weapons charged, ready for easy pickings. "Pirate vessel approaching," Amy announced. "Small ship. Looks like independent operators. They are new. Probably have not heard the stories." "Nicole, hail them," Jake ordered. "Give them one warning. Tell them who we are, and suggest strongly that they leave." Nicole broadcast the message. There was a long pause. Then the pirate ship's engines flared, and it turned away at maximum speed. "They are running," Amy reported. "I guess they looked us up in the database." "Smart pirates," Ben said approvingly. "Those are the ones who survive." 2. The convoy continued without incident. At the next trading station, the merchant captains thanked Jake profusely. One Korathi captain, named Jelvar, approached him personally. "Captain Morrison, I have been trading these routes for 15 years. This is the first time I have felt truly safe. What you humans have done, it is changing everything." "We are just trying to help," Jake said modestly. "It is more than that," Jelvar insisted. "You have shown us that we do not have to be victims, that we can defend ourselves without becoming the monsters we fear. My species is already implementing changes to our civilian ships, following your example. In a generation, space will be a different place, and it will be because of what you started." After the merchants departed, Jake stood at the viewport again, watching the station's lights twinkle against the darkness of space. His crew joined him, each lost in their own thoughts. "Do you think it will last?" Nicole asked. "This change we have started?" "I think so," Jake said. "Once people know they do not have to be victims, they do not go back. Once they learn that strength and mercy can coexist, they do not forget. We have shown the galaxy a better way. Now it is up to them to keep it going." "And us?" Amy asked. "What we have always done," Jake replied. "We deliver our cargo. We help those who need it. We defend ourselves when necessary. We show mercy when possible. We keep being the example that made all this change possible. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst," Ben said, repeating the human motto. "Exactly," Jake agreed. "That is the human way. And now, it is becoming the galactic way." The frontier spirit undocked from the station and resumed its journey through the stars. Its cargo holds were full of goods to deliver. Its defensive systems were ready for any threat. Its crew was prepared for whatever challenges might come. But more than that, the ship carried something more valuable than any cargo. A reputation for being strong enough to defeat any attacker, but wise enough to show them mercy. Behind them, they left safer trade routes, rehabilitated criminals, and a galaxy that finally understood what humans meant when they said they came in peace but were ready for war. It was a message that would echo through space for generations. In bars and stations across the galaxy, new stories were being told. Stories about human ships that looked like easy prey, but were really predators in disguise. Stories about captains who showed mercy to defeated enemies. Stories about a species that refused to be victims but also refused to be executioners. The galaxy was learning about humans. They were learning that human ships were death traps for pirates. But they were also learning that humans used those death traps to capture, not kill, to rehabilitate, not punish, to protect the weak and reform the wicked, to raise the standards of safety and civilization for everyone. The frontier spirit sailed on through the endless dark, a beacon of human philosophy in action. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Show strength when threatened. Show mercy when possible. Defend yourself and others. Never be a victim, but never be a monster either. It was a lesson the galaxy needed to learn. And one converted freighter, with a paranoid, brilliant crew, had taught it better than any military fleet ever could. The message was clear and spreading fast. Do not attack human ships. But if you do, and you survive, they might just give you a second chance to be better than you were. That was the human way. And the galaxy would never be the same. Ambassadors, Kyra said, addressing the entire chamber. I understand your concerns. Change is uncomfortable. The human approach is different from what the galaxy is used to. But I ask you to look at the results. Fewer deaths. Fewer successful piracy attacks. More criminals being rehabilitated instead of creating martyrs. Safer space for everyone, not just humans. These are good outcomes. And if we do not accept this change, Tavor asked, if we demand that humans disarm their civilian vessels, Kyra's expression became serious. Then, you will be asking us to make our people vulnerable. You will be asking us to ignore the lessons we learned from our own history. We will respectfully decline. However, I do not think it will come to that. I think most species here understand that what humans are doing benefits everyone. We are not conquering. We are not expanding aggressively. We are simply refusing to be easy targets. That is a right every species should have. The chamber fell silent as the delegates considered her words. Finally, the council chair, an ancient being from a species humanity had barely met, spoke in a voice like wind through crystal. Jake considered the question. It is good if it means fewer attacks. It is good if pirates think twice before hurting innocent people. But we need to be careful. A reputation can be a weapon, but it can also make us targets. There will always be someone who wants to prove they can beat the humans. We need to stay ready. Will we always be ready? Nicole asked. That is the plan, Jake said with a slight smile. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Remember those words, Nicole. They have kept humans alive in space for generations. They will keep serving us well. The frontier spirit sailed on through the stars. Its cargo holds were full. Its traps were ready. Its weapons were charged. Its crew was prepared for anything. Behind them, they left safer trade routes, rehabilitated criminals, and a galaxy that was beginning to understand what it meant when humans said they came in peace, but were ready for war. Civilian vessels are now responsible for more pirate captures than some of our patrol fleets. The frontier spirit alone has captured 3 pirate crews. The colony ship New Horizon turned in 2 smuggling operations. Even the luxury cruise liner Pacific Star captured a kidnapping gang. A politician from the Civilian Oversight Committee leaned forward. Admiral, is it really appropriate for civilian ships to be this heavily armed? We have had complaints from other species. They say human vessels are essentially military ships, pretending to be civilian. Admiral Wright smiled grimly. Congressman, let me be clear. Our civilian ships are not military vessels. They do not have military-grade shields, armor, or weapons systems. What they have is human creativity, paranoia, and a strong survival instinct. Captain Morrison's ship? It is a 50-year-old frigate that was decommissioned and sold as surplus. He converted it with completely legal civilian equipment. Those traps he used? Standard industrial safety equipment? Repurposed. The weapons? Civilian grade, just smartly positioned. No, but they might tear themselves apart trying. If that drive core explodes, it could take us with them. Jake thought for a moment. Boarding time. Ben, get your team ready. Full military equipment. Kate, target their faster-than-light drive with a low-yield warhead. Knock it offline before they kill us all. A single missile left the Frontier Spirit. Its warhead was carefully set. It went through the Bloodclaw's hull and exploded deep inside. The electromagnetic pulse fried the faster-than-light drive's control systems. The pirate ship went completely dark. Emergency power barely kept life support working. They are dead in space, Amy confirmed. No power, no weapons, no engines. Just like you wanted. Excellent. Ben, you are up. Nicole, tell the pirates that they will be boarded and that resistance will be met with deadly force. Make sure they understand we are not playing games anymore. The door slammed shut behind them. Magnetic locks clicked into place with a heavy sound. Then gas began hissing from the vents. It was a sedative mixture that would make a Vracon unconscious in less than 1 minute. Welcome to the broom closet, came that same calm human voice over the speakers. You will sleep for about 4 hours. Sleep well. On the real bridge, which was 2 decks down and behind armor plating, Nicole could not help but laugh. They fell for the fake bridge? That actually worked? People see what they expect to see, Jake explained, showing the internal maps. They scanned a civilian cargo ship layout. We made sure there was a bridge where they expected one. We just did not tell them it was the old bridge from before we changed this ship. Teams 4, 5, and 6 are moving through the cargo sections, Amy reported. They are looking for the crew. Should we lead them somewhere specific? Jake thought for a moment. How about we let Chief Martinez show them his workshop? He has been wanting to test his new inventions.